Good morning from SlaterCon. It's a bit cloudy this morning, but we're here with the great Matt Panousis, the CEO of LipDub AI. And maybe you can introduce yourself, Matt, so I don't forget anything in the process.
Yeah, no, great. My name's Matt Panousis. I'm one of the co-founders at LipDub AI, and excited to chat with you here.
All right, good. The reason I wanted to interview you is I saw you on a panel yesterday, and you were talking about AI dubbing as a tool for the democratization of dubbing. Do you see what you do mainly as a revenue driver or a cultural bridge?
I mean, I think it's both. So by building a stronger cultural bridge by virtue of putting a product in front of consumers that's more native looking, more seamless, more authentic, it can be a revenue driver. So in certain use cases, as an example, in social, when we're localizing podcasts and YouTube channels, that's certainly about driving revenue. When we're working in industries like film and TV, it's also about driving revenue, right? You're trying to up the watch time and ultimately the completion rates and the subscribership of content. That's a revenue driver. Ironically, though, it can also be a cost cutter at the same time, right? Because if you, again, think in the social context, if you were to try and do this traditionally, which very few have, but if you were to try and do this traditionally with the more traditional dubbing pipeline, it would be extremely expensive, extremely slow, and that's why no one does it, right? But now with AI, it's fully democratized to the point where you can be a junior editor on a social team, and you can create very compelling dubbed content that looks and sounds completely native. Like most of our customers that go out and do this, like the audience actually is pretty unaware that anything's been done, or even unaware that the speaker in the video actually doesn't speak their language. And so like that's the level of realism that we're after.
Yeah. At the outset, I'm a nuts and bolts guy. I'm really interested in what people are doing with AI and the applications. How does AI shift the creative process for studios and storytellers, you think? Because they traditionally think locally first, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should continue to do so. I actually think that's what's so interesting about the democratization of dubbing is, it's cool to hear unique perspectives, and it's cool to hear unique stories. And I think when you think about, I don't know, I'll go back to Hollywood for a second. When you think about projects like Squid Games that have done so well, I think one of the reasons it did so well was because it was so unique, because it was a completely different perspective, right? Came from a different region, and I think people are actually very interested in hearing perspectives from storytellers around the world. That's not what they want changed. What they want, though, is when they do watch that project to not have an extremely poor viewing experience where they have to either A, read, or B, listen to dubs that aren't necessarily great. And on top of that, I mean, where we started as LipDub, have to watch visuals that are completely out of sync with the audio, right? So I think people want local perspectives, but as they're watching those local perspectives, they want it to look and sound great, and that's what we're doing.
Do you think, because traditionally the dubbing world has been founded on maybe 70 years of human interaction and dubbing, do you think audience will care whether dubbing is done by humans or AI if the emotional quality is preserved?
Ultimately, no. I don't think when an audience watches a piece of content, that's part of their thought process and what they're and how they're evaluating that content. I really think our experience has been, if it looks great, if it sounds great, that's what matters most. How you get there matters less. And so no, I don't think that's part of the audience criteria.
Maybe one thing that I was thinking about right away when I started thinking about your interview is how this might lower the barrier to entry for independent movie houses or creators. Do you think there's an opportunity to leverage dubbing for a larger audience on much smaller productions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we of course, like at LipDub, we work with enterprise organizations localizing content. We work with Fortune 100s localizing, their marketing and their paid ads, their organic, even all the way to their TV broadcast spots. So, we do work with higher end entities who value what we do from a quality standpoint. But that said, so much of our customer base is made up of folks that could never traditionally afford what those big entities do. And so, I think it opens up the playing field in a huge way for small creators, right? Whether you are a YouTube channel or a podcaster, even if you're a small DTC brand, we've been working with a lot of DTC e-commerce brands, right, that would have a very difficult time traditionally localizing their paid and organic. And so, I think in many ways it levels the playing field for the smaller entities out there.
Yeah. Are there any other pain points that you're solving with AI dubbing that are not necessarily about the issues that we just talked about?
No, I think primarily the problems we're solving. So with regards to audio, I think for certain groups, we're making it accessible for the first time ever. One of the nice things about what we do is LipDub is, so while we offer AI dubbing on the audio side, it is agnostic. So if you have still standardized on voice actors, or you're very familiar with other AI audio tools that you love, you can still leverage those audio files, bring them into LipDub with the original video, and still get a best-in-class lip sync. And so for those kinds of creators, we're not necessarily changing their workflow. It's actually a little more expensive for the guys that are standardized on voice acting because it's a new line item now, right? You're lip syncing on top. But for many others, it's about like I mentioned before, like it's finally an offering that is affordable and easy enough to use for the masses. And so those are really the problems that we're solving. We're trying to create incredible localized video viewing experiences, and we're trying to make it fast and easy.
Am I wrong? Because in my mind, this type of solution, AI driven, would make a difference, or could make a difference in speed as well. So much of the content that's produced is real time right now, and it's old hat in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's an opportunity for your solution to work in a real time format as well?
Yeah, not to divulge too much, but absolutely. I mean, that's one of the big bets that we've made as a company is real time. Right now, LipDub is an offline solution. It's very fast, but it doesn't operate in real time. And once you do get to real time, you open up all sorts of new markets, right? Any form of live streaming becomes now accessible, right? You can live stream, whether it's a Twitch live stream, YouTube live stream, TikTok Shop, right? You can now make that content universally accessible to folks. So we're very excited about that format, as well as your more traditional live stream, right? Like your broadcast content also opens up once you start to get to real time. So yeah, LipDub's made a bet on that.
All right, that's good to hear. Are there still challenges that remain that are holding you back from making that last step right now to make it real time?
It's a tough challenge. It's a tough challenge. We've been working on it for over a year now. So LipDub, we've started developing the original model about 4 years ago, and with the real-time model, we've been working on it for about a year. So yeah, it's super challenging, but it's very, very close to coming to market at this point.
So a lot of my audience works in the localization industry, and many of the people that follow me are working at LSPs and localization providers.
Yep.
What role do partnerships play in the way LipDub goes about its business?
Yeah, I mean, we have partnerships in place. We have partnerships in place with tons of LSPs for this exact reason, because if you're an LSP, like I said, we're language agnostic, right? So if you're an LSP and you have clients that have standardized on working with you, they love your audio, that's not what they're looking to change. All they're looking to do is now heighten the quality of the viewing experience. They can leverage LipDub in that manner. And provide their customers with something that is perfectly lip synced and hence much, much more authentic. And so some of our LSPs work with us in that manner where they don't leverage our audio solutions, they purely leverage our lip sync, and they are able to provide their customers with this heightened viewing experience. And then you also have LSPs that actually leverage our audio as well, because like I mentioned on the panel, it's not to say that even when you do leverage our audio, there's no value in human in the loop. There's certain types of content where every single word has to be translated completely 100% accurately. Pronunciation has to be 100% accurate. While AI audio is amazing and getting better, we still are at a place today where a human in the loop that speaks the target language is the only way to ensure 100% accuracy. So we have other LSPs that work with us in that manner where they will leverage LipDub, they'll leverage the refinement tools we have in LipDub, like our translation editing, and they will leverage both, so our audio and our lip sync for their customers with their own experts as the humans in the loop.
Yeah. This, of course, opens up new markets, I would think, for studios. From a business model standpoint, do you have any advice for studios to unlock new revenue streams with your AI-enhanced dubbing product?
So by studios, you're referring specifically to like the film and TV?
Yes, or any other customer base that you might have that might not be that obvious.
So sorry, do you mind repeating the question just so now I lost my train of thought?
No problem. So how can studios unlock new revenue streams with your AI-enhanced dubbing product?
Yeah, okay, so it's easier, so it would be easier for me to speak with regards to specific industries and answering.
Yeah.
So if you are talking about film and TV, there's huge potential. As an example, many of the international media and media firms that we work with are leveraging this heightened end product for local markets to sell their product for more into markets that would previously probably not be as interested.
Yeah.
As an example, we work with large firms in the Philippines, large firms in the Middle East that are taking their content into English, that are taking their content into some of the bigger Western European languages like French and German, right? And trying to sell that product for a higher price. So certainly in the Hollywood film and TV context, there's a huge revenue component to why this is interesting to them. If you're a streamer, everything's about subscribership, watch time, completion rates, and so that's also the one part of the value there for them in leveraging LipDub is also to drive revenue. In other spaces, like I mentioned, in the social world. It's also about driving revenue, right? You're increasing your followership so that you can, again, sell more ad space and what have you, right? So of course, revenue is a huge part of the value prop there. And if you're talking about marketing and advertising, one of the big reasons that marketers and advertisers are leveraging LipDub, not just relying on traditional techniques like subtitling their organic or paid or broadcast content, is purely for performance, right? They want the ads to perform better. And what we're seeing in that space with marketers and advertisers is that there is actually quite a huge lift in ad performance when you are localizing content with great speech-to-speech, with great voice content, with great lip sync.
Yeah. The localization industry is venturing out in all these new terrains, it seems, and just by what you were talking about, I gotta assume that what quality means is probably something completely different from what it's meant in the past 20 years in our industry in general. What are your measuring sticks that you use? Is it fluency, audience engagement, or something else? What do you evaluate your quality on?
So yeah, where we started with our lip sync model back in 2021, we have a number of internal checks and balances that we leverage to ensure that the lip sync you're getting is globally best in class. So we look at metrics like articulation. So how accurate is the articulation? How accurate is the emotional elements of the performance. So one of the special things we do at LipDub is while we're changing language, we're actually carrying over the original performance. We're not changing the performance, we're just changing the language. And so that's really important to us. Also, the ability to generate high fidelity textures. Like if I was lip dubbing you, I'd want to see every single strand of hair on your goatee. Okay, no, seriously, that's the level we look at. And
I'll let you talk to my wife. She probably won't agree, but.
And then the other really important thing for us is the ability to handle dynamic content well without breaking or artifacting. Many tools in the space are optimized for single speaker talking head videos. That makes up a small percentage of overall video content. There's a lot of video content, whether it be an instructional yoga video or a YouTube video or what have you, a marketing video, where there's movement, there's multiple speakers, there's people speaking in difficult poses like the way we're speaking right now. This would be challenging for a consumer-based tool. So we focus on all those things from a lip sync standpoint. And then when we think about just the overall localized product, it's about, is the translation accurate? Is everything being pronounced properly? Is everything being timed properly? The timing is really important. Many times when you're just doing straight AI dubbing, given the relative length of different languages, some of these tools you'll see speech that speeds up as an example. If you're going English to Spanish, Spanish is longer, and so if you just take it word for word and you don't worry about pacing, you're going to see very fast speech where I'm talking like this the entire video. It's not a pleasant viewing experience, so the pacing is important. We think about all these things programmatically while also appreciating that, at least with the current state of the technology, it's never going to be absolutely perfect, which is why we provide users of the software sets of refinement tools, like I mentioned, guided translation editing, the ability to play with audio. If you're leveraging SRTs, the ability to upload SRTs, because of that appreciation that if you are seeking true perfection, you do need that human in the loop. And then from the buyer standpoint, it really depends on who you're selling to. I mean, if you're selling to online educators, they're typically looking at engagement rates. If you're selling to social, they're typically looking at watch time and subscriber rates. If you're selling to streamers, they're typically looking at watch time, completion rates, and subscriber rates. So the success metrics vary depending on who you're selling to.
Maybe one last question before we wrap it up. SlaterCon is a very specialized conference in this sense. I think that they really talk a lot about technologies with the eye on the future, and you are living that future a little bit. So thank you for enlightening us this morning. What are some predictions that you can make about the localization industry and maybe the dubbing space that would surprise us?
I mean, the thing is, I don't think it's that surprising anymore what I'm about to say. But I like I mentioned on the panel yesterday, I think we are entering a phase now of mass adoption of AI video localization. Again, this combination of speech-to-speech, voice cloning, and lip sync. For the past 2 years, since we launched our beta, like many of our customers across all of those different industries have been made up of early adopters that just held the deep belief that hey, this is a better viewing experience, and if we give our audience a better viewing experience, we're going to see better video performance. And the data started to flow in, and we watch it all the time. There's nothing cooler for me than watching a podcaster put out a video in this manner, and then I go into the comments and I read the comments and the positivity that's coming through from people saying, I can't believe you did this for me. Because that's the thing. I think sometimes people construe AI dubbing as, well, it's inauthentic. But what I see from audiences is I actually think that audiences look at creators that do localized content in this manner as they care about me. They've gone through an extra step, assuming that they know. Again, like I mentioned before, sometimes they actually don't know. Maybe they're seeing the creator for the first time and they just assume they're speaking the language. But even for those that do pick up on it, they say it's such a vastly superior viewing experience to what I was getting before. I'm so happy they did this for me. And so the data points are now starting to roll in. It's really working. And so now I think just the combination of the fact that it's actually working, it is driving video performance, and it's getting so affordable and so easy to use. just think across all sectors, online education, social, streaming, marketing and advertising, you name it, this is going to become the norm. Not to say subtitles are going to go away entirely, it might be a hybrid, but I really truly believe that every single piece of content on the internet, every video on the internet is, in 5-10 years, will be localized in this manner.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Matt, spending some time with us, and I wish you a safe journey back later on today.
Thank you. Great speaking with you.